Thanks, Jonesy. You guys are watching RTX, telling you everything that's good on social like we do. I'm joined by Randy Urban and, of course, Blake Murphy from The Athletic. Now, guys, let's just jump right into it. We have a lot to talk about. The players released their jerseys and what they're going to say at the back last night. I thought there was lots of powerful words, and they really explained what they meant to them as well. Randy, if you were a player, what would you get on the back of your jersey and why?
Well, first of all, I think I liked what Norm was going to say or wanted to say, am I next? I thought that really resonated. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to go with that, which is a conversation in itself. It's kind of hard to say what I would go with, but I think one of the things that resonates with me, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson wrote "Speak Up," and I think that's a big thing to say because I really feel like as a white person and white people, we encounter situations where we could have said something, but maybe it was a little bit uncomfortable or we didn't really know what the outcome was. And I think there are situations where every person probably didn't say something. So I think, kind of imploring people to be more vocal, to stand up. And I think it starts within their own family. It doesn't have to be like, hey, on the street, that kind of stuff, but just, speaking up in your inner circle. And I think that would send a big message.
100%. Blake, what would you have on yours?
Yeah, it's a great point, Randy, about how speak up doesn't just mean, using your platform. It's also those hard conversations with family. And that's something that I've been doing through all of this as well. In terms of the jersey choices, I've covered at this point that the players were at least a little unhappy at some of the limited options. So, someone for me as a Canadian, I would love to localize that message. I would love to highlight our treatment of our Indigenous populations or, the systemic issues in terms of policing and education and healthcare for our Indigenous people. Among the options available, I would go with Black Lives Matter. I think to Matt Thomas's point in explaining his choice, it's important to hear that message from a white person as well. And one of the biggest things that I learned in the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd and some of the issues we had with Black, Indigenous, and people of color here in Toronto shortly after that was that, it's not amplifying voices and quietly doing things like donating and protesting are great, but putting your own voice to it and having those messages come from, from different perspectives and from different voices is really important as well.
100%. Like allies having the conversation, that's what's going to really make a difference in this movement as well. It's not just, one community doing it. It's a whole bunch. That's why I personally like Chris Boucher's message really resonated with me. See us. See us them more than a player, see us them more than our skin tone. That really spoke to me. It's simple, it's small, but it says a lot. Now, kind of a hard turn. We got to switch up the subject to some statistics, which I'm sure Blake Murphy loves, being as he does a lot of writing and works with this a lot. So a website that does a lot of NBA statistics called 538 has the Raptors with a 9% chance of going back to the finals. Now, I mean, the numbers are disrespecting the Raptors personally, I feel. However, Blake, what is your intuition telling you about the Raptors?
Yeah, I think the 9% to go back to the finals is low. And I've looked at, 538's model, Basketball Reference's model, Jacob Goldstein's model, and then all of the Vegas lines. And the Vegas lines are all over the place. If you're not betting on one of the LA teams or Milwaukee teams, you're getting championship and finals prices all over the place. You can get the Raptors at like plus 700 to win the title, plus 2,200. It's all over the place. You take those and kind of average them out and, across the models and the betting lines, I feel like, 6 to 7% to win the whole thing is where where kind of the average sits in for the Raptors. So only 9% to make the finals, especially behind some of those other teams. I certainly get why it raises the eyebrows, and I'm sure Raptors fans are actually just thrilled to be back in that underdog position that they love to be in so much.
Yeah, I agree with you, Blake. I would say the Raptors, I would give the Bucks probably the best chance in the East just because of Giannis, and I think maybe they probably got better. I mean, it's hard to say what they would do in the playoffs, but I would say the Bucks at 40%. I would give the Raptors a 30% chance, and then I would go Celtics, Sixers, 15% each. I just think that the Raptors match up well against the Bucks. I think there's something to be said for experience, and the Celtics and Sixers don't, with the group that they have right now, don't have that experience. you know, the Raptors have some young guys and they've got a mix of older vets, but all of them, more or less, have been there before. And none of the other teams can say that. And I think there's something to be said for that. So I would say 30% chance for the Raptors to go to the finals.
Wow, Randy, you don't have them as number one in the East?
Well, I just think that it's going to be tough. I mean, again, the question I keep saying is like, I think the Raptors should be right there. Who is going to be the guy that steps up? If Pascal can do that, then I think they have a chance.
Hey, okay. All right. I'll take your word. But real quick, we got to go. Complex Canada released some funny graphics done by the Royce Project. Take a look at them. We got Pascal Siakam holding a pepper. We got, OG holding a scarf, Van Vliet with a bag. Guys, there's no Marc Gasol in there. What would he be holding?
Blake, you go first.
Okay, I'm going to get a little weird. I think he'd be holding like a little tomato plant. I don't know if people know this, but at least when Mark was in Memphis, teaching his kids gardening and how to kind of sustain their own food was something he did with his kids often. So he's got a little bubble tomato plant.
I'm going to go off the grid a little bit too. I'm going to say a life jacket just because of what he did when he was in Memphis and he was on that migrant rescue boat. I think that's one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen an athlete do. And I can't shy away from that.
No, that's a great one. Actually, I was thinking about that one, but my gut was telling me soccer ball.
Ball. Bottle of wine.
Bottle of wine. That's what Jake behind the scenes said. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Blake. Randy, I'll see you next time.
All right.
We got to go back to the guys. I'll be back, though, with another social update.